Hello, this is Asnar, bringing you my first ever Let's Play. The game I'm going to be playing is a game that's very dear to me, that I love, and I've played this game countless hours, called Knights of Honor. Knights of Honor is a game from 2004, and as you can see here, it's published by Sunflowers Interactive Entertainment, as well as Black Sea Studios Limited. As well, it is one of the first ever games published through Paradox Interactive. And you'll actually be able to see that some of Paradox's later titles, notably EU4, you can see some of the beginnings of those kinds of titles in this game. Now we're going to go to play on Europe. This is how you start up a game. Now there are three periods you can play in: early, high, and late. Different historical periods that will affect who you can play as. If you go, you have a list here. If you go to European map, you can see all the nations on the game map. Different nations you can play as, for example, Germany, Lithuania, Byzantium. And if you go through the different time periods, you can see the different countries you can play as. Now for this first Let's Play, I'm going to start with something fairly easy, or easy as I would consider it. I'm going to play on hard, and we're going to play as Normandy. Now, one of the things as well, this being a game from 2004, the game doesn't really have any achievements or anything. There are two victory conditions. One, where you conquer a large enough part of the map to be considered by the other map powers to have won the game, or to basically conquer everything. However, in my playing of this game, I found it funner, in a sense, to invent my own achievements, my own things to do. For example, in this game as Normandy, Duke William of Normandy, we will cross the English Channel, invade and conquer the English Isles, and then we'll conquer the rest of France here, coming back after we're done with England. Now, towards the end of this, I may take some French territory first. It depends what opportunities are offered to us. But we're going to take, like I said, all of the English Isles. We're going to take Brittany, France, Burgundy, some of Germany on the coast, perhaps Lotharingia, depending on how I feel that should go. But now we are simply going to start and press play. Now, if you look at the map, you can see certain things here on the screen. Kingdom power up in the top left, court in the top middle, top right you have your treasury, and then you have a number of different screens you can access at the bottom. We're not going to do any of that right now. Firstly, we're going to grab our guy, Count Guillaume. He is our marshal up here. We're going to put him into Normandy. Now, this is our only province, being that I've selected a one-province minor. You can see that we have these little guys here, population. We have 4 piety being generated every turn, 5 gold, 11 workers, which is actually fantastic, and 2 food, which is absolute garbage. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to town improvements. We're going to go to civilian buildings in the middle screen here. We're going to build a granary. This will give us +1 food in town, plus 100 extra food storage, and it's essential to get food generation up and running if we're going to do anything here. Now, first thing we need to do as well is to fill this army with troops. If you go in here, the only thing we can produce right now is peasants. Peasants got 50 gold and 20 food, as well as a population unit. We're going to select our peasant and build him. Now, for a large part of the early game, you can, if you choose to, build army buildings so quickly get better soldiers, but I find for actually a lot of the early game, and even the middle game, you can survive basically just using the basic peasant unit if you play the game properly. This is a game I will say right off the bat that if you follow a certain strategy to the game, it is, in a sense, impossible to lose the game if you're not completely terrible at it. It's more of a matter of how quickly it may take you to win and achieve your goals. Secondly, I'm going to go to political view here. This is our country here. We're surrounded by other nations. We're going to go to relations. This is going to show us what's going on. We have decent relations with Brittany. This little icon here shows that we have a trade agreement with them. And we have some people who, you know, the reddish coloring means they don't like us as much. Wessex, yellow, they don't like us too much either. Now, however, we can see by this icon that we are at war with York. The game is randomly generated. In terms of what unit generation there is in province in terms of the resources, the villages will represent resources, and that's always randomized. As well, your starting relations are randomized as well. Being at war with York is quite good. They're far away. If we click on York, we can see that they're also at war with Ulster, who's closer to them. This means that they may focus not on us, which is a good thing right now, because we're going to need some time to build up our strength. Now, if we go to the top right, we can see we're losing money. That is not a good thing. We're going to want to, as quick as possible, set out from our starting area. And we're going to want to achieve some sort of victory here. Oh, actually, I totally missed something. Kingdom Power is a mechanic similar to Stability from the Europa Universalis series. It gives you certain bonuses. One of the bonuses that it gives you that's very important is a bonus to income. I totally missed that I could have taken this, and that actually may end up being a pretty bad thing. However, one of the best ways in the game to earn money, and it's one of the things I recommend doing in your first war, is to not take any territory whatsoever, but simply to do this is to raid. The villages that are on the map that provide resources can also be raided for resources. Usually that will only be money. However, if it's a farm, you will also raid food as well. What we're going to do is we're going to go to York's southern province of Mercia. We're going to raid their port. The reason we're going to raid the port is because if the enemy comes at us in a sizable way, it'll allow us a good method of retreat. We're going to raid this location. We're going to gain the money from raiding this location, and we're going to immediately use it to increase kingdom power, or else we're simply going to bleed money for the rest of the game. Now you can see Guillaume is coming here. He's coming on the coast. Now we only have 3 present peasant units right now, which actually makes us incredibly weak.
Board ships.
Now we're going to...
Time to move.
See, I've run into something. The ports are not as easy to attack. You have to select attack in order to attack a port. If you simply try to, otherwise... Oh, yeah, here we go. Nope. We're going to immediately retreat from this engagement. Yeah, see, that's the problem. Earl Richard is here with his army. If he attacks us, he will easily wipe us. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into the boat, and we are going to turn tail and run away. Now, this may put a bit of a damper on things here. It's definitely not going to allow us to do anything very early. I'm going to move a little bit away from the port here and see what he does. I don't know if he's going to follow us. If he follows us, that's actually pretty bad. Although not terrible. Back in Normandy, I'm going to produce 3 more peasant units with the remainder, almost remainder of our money.
What is your wish?
He doesn't seem to be following us. So I'm going to go back to Normandy. I'm going to pick up these 3 new peasant units that we've produced. And we're going to instead try something else. Now, York will have 1 starting army. A second marshal costs, if we go up here, costs 1,000 gold to produce a second marshal or any other thing as well. Now, that's actually very prohibitive, so you probably won't have another one. However, I have actually just remembered another thing that's very important for us to do. Here we have Duke William and 2 more princes. One of the things that I always do, and I have forgotten to do until now, focusing on the military side of the conflict here, is to take these guys and promote them to merchants. Merchants trade with other nations and gain you money. Now, we don't have trade agreements with very many people, and we don't have trade agreements with anybody who will net us any significant gain. 3 gold is actually pretty crap. What we're going to want to do is just gain random trade agreements if possible with other countries. They want a marriage? I don't think so. That sounds ridiculous. They want a marriage as well. Yeah, that's also pretty crap. Here we go. Kiev will just straight out give us a trade agreement. Hungary, again, they want a marriage. What about Germany here? See, they don't want to trade with us at all. What I want to do is sort of try to gain trade agreements with people who are of medium to random size. Don't have to be enormous, but they'll give us something. You can always break trade agreements. It gives you a serious hit to relations. But since a lot of our trade agreements are with random countries far away from us, it's not particularly important.
At your service.
Now, if we go into trading, we'll trade with Bulgaria, we will trade with Kiev, and we will trade with Sweden. That's not a ton of money, but it does give us enough money to stave off bankruptcy, solving our immediate issue. We put these guys in here, pick up some more food, and for a moment, we'll wait. Now, in this meantime, while we're waiting, I'm going to take a look at the situation here and sort of explain what I want to do. We're going to take Brittany here, eventually by the end of the game, all of France, this province here to the northeast of Normandy here, Flanders. No, we won't take that. Flanders is not... Well, no, Flanders is part of Belgium. That's historically, a long time ago, historically France, so we will take it. Lorraine and Falls here are part of Lotharingia. Falls, not necessarily. No, we will take Lorraine, however. And then we will take Alsace, another province of Lotharingia, Savoy, and not Genoa, but Provence for sure. And that's sort of the line we're going to follow down on this side. As well, the line we're going to conquer in France will be Languedoc and Aquitaine. So it's the British Isles, all of this here, and that area of France. After that, I may continue the game for a little while to maybe show off some features, or if you guys would like me to continue or do anything, I would definitely be open to that. Here we go, something fun. York is finally moving. He's sending an army against us. It's a full army, 360. This is not very good. However, it's not horrible. He's going to come here and he'll raid us a little bit. He's not going to be able to take us. One of the things that's very nice is that being a capital, the capital has extra defenses, as well a town watch house, which in a battle will give you 2 or 3 guard units, which are actually very strong, effective infantry units. If he tries to force Normandy, if he tries to take our territory, he will lose. Therefore, this is one of the things that makes it hard to lose completely in the early game, if you're smart. We can't necessarily go out and hurt him a lot, but he can't do anything to us. He could possibly raid our territory and seriously hurt our economy, but by the time he does that, we will easily be able to gather enough military strength in order to wipe him out if necessary. Now this right now, the early game, especially the way I play this game, is a little slow. I will admit that, to be honest, in a lot of the games I play a tad slow. I like to build up strength for a strong late game. But in doing so, you ensure that you won't lose the game. You won't be wiped out. See, Earl Richard here is just going to completely walk by us. In fact, I find it very interesting. He's not even going to attempt to raid us. Perhaps the game upon landing, seeing that there's no significant prospects here, perhaps he's going to Ulster, who, if we check, he's still at war with. Ulster is actually, for York, a better target. Being that it's an AI, the AI is not as intelligent as a player would be, and it may be a little softer. See, 1 more unit of peasant, here we go. Now, we actually have enough money to take a unit of Kingdom Power. Kingdom Power costs money. It also costs Piety. Piety is useful for a number of certain actions, but the most important one early game is going to be increasing your Kingdom Power. Now, we have a trade agreement from the Berbers. We'll accept this. In our game long-term plans, we have no designs on North Africa. The Berbers are maybe a useful trading partner. There's no reason to change that now. See, Bulgaria... No, see here. Bulgaria is actually not making us nearly as much money. Yes, they're under attack, losing territory. However, 5 is still decent enough, especially early game, that I'm not going to cancel this agreement yet. If we go to our kingdom wealth here, this is our economy, we can see we have total expenditures of 10. The martial base will cost you 10. Each martial after won't cost 10 each. It's more exponential, especially by the time you get to a 6th or 7th martial. We have an income of 38, 5 from town tribute, which is what we're gaining through our province. We have no taxes. To be honest, taxes are almost superfluous. I'm going to move this to no taxes. It'll get more happiness, less risk of rebellion from provinces. We have 22 from trade routes. We have 3 from kingdom power. And religion, we have 8. Being a Catholic country, you get tithes, which is 30% extra money. It makes the Catholics in the game a little overpowered, but I don't particularly mind. At this point, I'm going to select a fishery. Going to spend 300 of this gold. It's going to generate us an extra food. You can see here in building that this building requires 200 workers, or this unit of measurement, to be built. 11 is actually an incredibly good number for a starting province. A lot of times your province will start with 2 or 3 and you'll have to build it up over time. 11 is really good. And in fact, that's all base except for a hostel here, which is giving us +2. I find it very interesting that this game has given us a hostel. A hostel is actually a 2nd level building over an inn. That's one of the things with this game, is it's very much sometimes, as others would say, you rely on RNGesus a little bit. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to leave Normandy. York, they have no armies on the seas. They've passed us. Now, I want to go to York and see what is happening there. It may very well be that they're in Ulster right now and defenseless. So we're going to go back to where we tried to attack before. Back in Normandy here, I am simply waiting for us to have 1,000 gold. And then what I'm actually going to do is to hire a new marshal. Now, Marshal's not the only thing you get, except, you know, we have our Marshal, we have our merchants, we have, you can get a spy, which has various espionage functions. Espionage is a decent facet of the game, but it's nothing I would really worry about too much. You have clerics, which give extra piety and are actually very important. Not only can they convert provinces' religion, which is very important in terms of reducing your unhappiness or other things. As well, there's a mechanic when you take over a province from another country, they have separatism. They're unhappy that they've been conquered by a foreign culture. One of the cleric's abilities is to adopt a population, which will get rid of that. It's very important in keeping your country stable. And as well, the last one, there's a landlord, which will give you extra food, or a builder, which will give you extra workers. These are not terribly important, but are useful at times. Now that I have 1,000 gold, I'm going to take this extra marshal in Normandy. We're going to put him in there as oregano. That's nice. Guillaume, as we can see, here we go. The enemies are not here. York's armies are not around. We're going to raid his port.
Yes, my lord.
Back here, we are going to continue to build up strength. Now, it's very important early in the game to get 2 armies. No matter what military your enemy may have in an army, even if he has a decent mix of troops, if you hit him with 2 armies of peasants, you will almost always win. Almost always. It's very important in this game to, in effect, double team your opponents with armies. Now, one of the things as well with Kingdom Power is that Kingdom Power is based upon your kingdom size and buildings. In actuality, the cost of our Kingdom Power has actually gone up quite a bit after me building that fishmonger and having another marshal here. Now, what we're going to do is continue to raid York for money while building up our strength, and we're going to max Kingdom Power out at 5 to get the maximum bonus from it. After that, we're going to build up our economy, And once we have a decent amount of money, we're going to begin taking provinces. Now, we can't attack Brittany. Brittany, we have a trade agreement with. In order to break it, it would cost us kingdom power, and we're not going to do that right now. But targets like Wessex, East Anglia, Wales, York, Lothian, Highlands, Ulster, Leinster, and Munster, we have no agreements with any of these guys. We are free and open to attack. That will make taking England very easily, and we can simply worry about France later. But as I can see, I've hit the 20-minute mark. Therefore, I'm going to call this an episode. Thank you very much for watching. Like if you like this video, subscribe if you really liked it, and I will see you all in the next one.